Okay. Welcome everyone to Rewriting Reality. And wanted to do something a little different today. I used to do a radio show and I would talk for like an hour. and I've been going through some of the old shows here and some of the things I talked about. And it's kind of neat what's there. So I'm just going to go through some of the things that came up and see things have changed, how relevant it is, and let's just sort of start here. It's what my parents told me. One thing that really affects your current relationship is your childhood relationship with your parents. The way they interacted with you echoes into the present. For instance, if you made a mistake and were told you were stupid, you can keep that belief that you were stupid and find yourself making stupid mistakes that consciously make you think that. Like, why did I do that? I know better. If they told you life is hard, then you make life hard. Remember that when you're young, the crap filter we have now isn't fully developed yet. And we also think our parents are wise and all knowing. All sorts of beliefs form, and we change many of them consciously, but many others remain stuck at that subconscious level. As you step into greater awareness, you'll start to notice the patterns in your current thoughts and the actions that match those when you were a child. As you do, you can learn to destroy those associated beliefs. And this is interesting that this is just what popped up because I was having a chat with one of my friends the other day about her relationship with her dad. And she was so frustrated because she said, he's supposed to be older and wiser. He's supposed to be more mature. And I laughed and I went, no, he's just older, right? So growing up doesn't mean you have to become wise, and growing up doesn't mean you have to become mature. There are so many people out there that are behaving from the same point of view as a child or a teenager or someone in like their early 20s, even though they may be 50, 60, 70 years old, because that's their pattern, that's their habit, their story, their addiction. And so that's just how they live. Sorry, let me close the door. My dog walked in. Okay. Why are you doing that during the show? Don't do that during the show. Okay. So this was an interesting thing for me growing up because there was family drama in my family, in my extended family. And growing up, my dad physically told me, "Oh, your father knows everything." And I grew up thinking my father knows everything. And then one day he couldn't answer a question I asked him. And I looked at him and said, "But Dad, you know everything." And he goes, "No, I knew everything when you were 6. Now you're like 18. There's things you're asking I don't know." And it rocked my world because he'd said it so many times growing up. I believed my father knew everything. And now I found out he didn't. And then later on, I'm watching interactions between my aunts and uncles and my parents. And it was very much high school stuff, right? And there was, people sort of like name calling or passive aggressive statements, and it clicked. And I said, "You guys aren't wiser, you're just older. This is the same stuff I see my friends going through." And it just changed everything in my life because now when I look at people, I don't think, "Oh, you're older, therefore you must be wiser." I look and I say, "Let me just see who you are," because you could be 22 years old and incredibly wise, right? Or you could be 83 years old and incredibly wise, or neither, right? So take each person on a case by case basis and strip away the stories of who a person is supposed to be because of their age or because of their gender or because of their skin color or because of their job or because of anything, and just look at that person and see them for who they are. Oftentimes when you are meeting someone, you're trying to put, say, templates on top of that person. When you're trying to get into a romantic relationship, you have a template for what you want your partner to be, and you try to fit that onto the person you're meeting. And if it doesn't fit, you can often try to adjust that person to fit your template rather than say, well, he doesn't fit or she doesn't fit my template, so I'll just find someone that does. Or you could say, you know what, scrap the template and let me look at who this person is, and do I actually want a relationship with this person? Even though they don't fit the template, is that a person I'd like as they are? Because I've seen it so many times where it's like, it's not the template, but I can work with this. Women do this especially, men not so much, but it's like, oh, it's good raw materials to create the partner I want. So I'll say yes, start dating this person, I'll try and make my tweaks. And then you wonder months or years into the relationship, it's like, you keep saying you're going to change, or I keep hoping you're going to change. Why aren't you changing? I'm like, because the person you think you're in a relationship with doesn't exist. The person you're in a relationship has always been that person. You're just refusing to accept who that person is. So I don't know if I just went off on a tangent there, but that's so getting back to what my parents told me. How much of what your parents told you are you still living in? Ooh, that's hitting a few people on the call. Okay. And something that came up in an earlier workshop today was, if I don't do the same things as my family, I'm going to lose my family. When we're talking about parents, kids often have that belief, no matter how old you are. I've seen it happen in people whose parents have passed away 10 years ago. And, and they're in their 60s and they're still, oh, but if I do this, my mom will get upset. If I do this, my dad won't love me. And the thing you want to do is a thing that's going to create success for you. It's going to create happiness for you. But there's that attachment. I can't, there we go, hitting people again. Okay. If you have not tuned into the podcast before, when I cough, it's because energy is shifting on the listeners or the attendees. We have some attendees that I'll probably be working on later on. But for now, we're talking about this bond to the parents and the need to be what your parents have instilled in you. And really, the goal of a parent should be to create an environment where your child can be happy and flourish and grow. But the goal of a lot of parents out there are the same thing as I described in a relationship, is that here's the template I want for my kid. That may not be my kid's goals, that may not be my kid's ideals, but I've got to try to make my kid fit into this template because my parents made me fit into that template and their parents made them feel, oh my God, there is so much coming up for this crowd right now. Ooh. And really, like, your parents were repeating patterns that they learned, and these patterns aren't so, not intentionally so I can control everything my kid does, although there's some parents like that. But mostly it's, if I make my kids do this, they can be happy and successful. If I make sure they go to college or get that job or behave properly, or but sometimes it can be, this is how my parents treated me and it felt like crap, but I'm going to make my kids do the same thing because let's just keep the cycle going. It's what I know. It's what I've learned. They cannot teach you what they don't know, right? And that seems like an obvious statement. Parents can't teach you what they don't know, but it's a really important thing. If they haven't learned how to step out of stories, if they haven't learned how giving kids more freedom to be creative and to explore who they are is better than forcing them to fit a mold, then they can't teach you that. They'll make you fit that mold. Okay. So when you want to step out of these things, number one, you have to be willing to let go of your parents. And it doesn't mean you stop loving your parents, but your parents may get upset with you. And there may be some fighting going on there. There may be some adjusting as you get into that new belief. And there is the possibility that they could say, well, no, I don't want to be around you anymore. And if the fear of that happening is there, then you may not make any changes to create a new reality for yourself. And so that's a big one too. The common things I've had when people are shifting out of the parent stories: if I don't do that, my parents will be upset. If I don't do that, I'm not a good child. If I don't do that, oops, sorry, not if I don't do it. If I do that, I'm not respecting my parents. If I do that, I am not a good child. If I do that, I may lose my parents. And this is all that, if I do that, is being happy, being successful, growing as a person. It's, stepping out of those stories. But there's just this innate need to be connected with your parents and make them happy and get what you've decided love is from them. And this leads into another topic. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. So for a child trying to figure out what love is, you look to your environment and you look around and see how people treat each other, and they demonstrate what love is. And of course, they're just demonstrating what they've been taught. But you you could get a lot of praise when you do your homework or when you clean the house or whatever, and you say, oh, well, this is love. And I only get love when I do something for someone. So that's what love looks like. And that's what you fix in your world. And so you become this doer for everyone because that's how you feel you're getting love. But you could be raised in an abusive household, and you're trying to figure out what love looks like, and you get hit all the time, and you think, oh, well, love is when I get hit. So that's what love looks like. That's what I have to now create in my life. And that's why you get people that have been abused now abuse people, or go into abusive relationships, because at that subconscious level, at that level that's still behaving like a child, that's what love looks like. And love could look like being ignored. Love could look like just like, it's not always a bad thing, but going through like being abused, being ignored. uh, Children should be seen and not heard. So if I'm really quiet, then that means I'm loved. If I don't speak up, that means I'm loved. But there's also parents that nurture you with love, where it's just like, express yourself. So whenever I express myself, I'm loved. Or when they really get to it, it's just like, you know what, no matter what you do, I'm going to love you, right? Because love is something that's just the state of being, not from any act or any accomplishment. And when you can teach your children that, then they can grow up with this self-love for just being them. But it all comes down to, what are your parents teaching you? Okay. Wow. Okay. And under that, we have connection. How we connect with others is an important part of our lives. However, many of us adjust ourselves so others approve and connect with us better. While it's practical to learn techniques to connect with others, we must remember not to change who we are to create those connections. Ultimately, we want to create deeper connections with people who accept us for who we are. So this goes to the other side of what I was talking about. So whereas when you're getting into a relationship and you create that template, you're trying to make that person fit into your template. On the flip side, if you want someone to like you, you can have an awareness of what their template is. So you try to adjust yourself so you can have that connection. And really, because that person's idea of a partner is different from your idea of a partner, there's no real connection there. There may be like a physical connection, or there's a mental or even a spiritual connection, but it's not a full on connection. It's just part of the whole. And so you try to adjust yourself to make that connection work, to make it fit, when it's really not a match. And when you stop doing that, when you say, okay, that person doesn't meet all the criteria I have for a partner, and the connection's not really there fully, well, then I can be friends with them, or I don't have to be in a relationship with them, or whatever it is. You can let that go and allow the person that does align with what you need in a partner to show up. Because oftentimes you're going from partner to partner trying to make a connection that doesn't exist. And the partner you want is out there, but it's never connecting with you, because you're always in these relationships with other people that you don't actually connect with. Okay. Hmm. Is this making sense to people? Throw a yes in the chat if this makes sense. There we go. Okay, what makes sense to one person? Okay. It may be making sense to people on the live in Facebook. but otherwise everyone here is very quiet. Okay, two people. We're up to two people. Apparently, I'm not making sense today. Oh, no. What am I going to do? Oh, look, there we go. More people. Now I think they're just humoring me, just throwing in yes so I don't get upset. Okay. All right. So if people aren't connecting with you, there may also be a belief that you're not worthy of such connections, or a story that people don't want to connect or even notice you. So now they can't connect. It's time to destroy those beliefs and step out of the stories. You are always worthy of connection. And there are lots of people out there who want to connect with you. Remember, it's all about aligning with people on the same frequency. And there are so many people on so many frequencies that connection is inevitable unless you don't desire it at a subconscious level. If you aren't developing the relationships you want, it's time to ask yourself what you're gaining by keeping the relationships shallow or at bay. Let the reasons pop into your head, no matter how crazy they may sound. The beliefs will surface. When they do, acknowledge them and see how they really aren't working for you. Then you can destroy them. So if you have a life where I think I'm on Facebook, but okay. If you have a life where you feel that you're not connecting with enough people, then it's probably something you're creating. Whew. And you just have to figure out why you're creating that. Wow, okay. People are shifting again. So I'm doing these little pauses as I feel these shifts happen. Oh, I like that. Hashtag truth, hashtag real talk. Nice. Okay. I'm doing real talk here. Okay. So, so again, this comes back to your childhood. Why did you decide that connection is bad? Right? Did you have an incident where you tried to connect and you got rejected, or you got yelled at, or you got embarrassed? And so oftentimes when you have that, especially as a child, it has a big impact on you. And the tendency is to make sure that never happens again. Now, what you don't get, or what you may not get at a subconscious level, is that the reaction you're trying to avoid is the reaction of a child based on those circumstances. And as an adult, you would react in a completely different way. But you're locked onto the prevention of that incident from when you were a child, the emotional impact that's still resonating inside you, saying, there's no way I want to go through that again. And if that happened because you tried to be friends with Billy, and Billy's like, I don't want to be your friend, get away from me. And you're like, oh my God, Billy doesn't want to be my friend. And it really, really hurt because you like Billy. Well, now you're going to keep yourself at bay from connections as an adult, not because as an adult you're like, oh, someone's going to yell at me, but because that memory as a child is still in there going, that was so traumatic. And so you separate yourself. Ooh, okay. Good. Okay. And let's do one more. Awareness. This is like, where's this? January 8th of 2018. This is how old this stuff is. Okay. Awareness. This is a double-edged sword. Ooh, look, I'm using like metaphors here. When you really start to receive awareness, you become aware of the reasons for everything you've done and why things went wrong. This can be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you react to it. For instance, when I became aware that the first time I got my heart broken was because I was a selfish dick at the time, I could have gone into self-blame, self-judgment, even self-punishment. However, I acknowledged that that's who I was at the time and why that happened. I'm different now, so I can just observe it and acknowledge it. And it's nice that I'm in that space that I can do that. But sometimes when you realize what you were doing and where you were coming from, instead of just acknowledging, oh, that's who I was then. You can go into, oh my God, I was such a dick. Why did I do that? And then you just go into this whole emotional outburst. You can actually start to punish yourself for being bad in the past rather than just letting it go and moving forward in the future. And there's all sorts of outcomes that can happen when you go into reaction rather than just staying in that space of awareness. Okay. It gets harder when you become aware of what you're doing now, that your prevalent thoughts are screwing up something for you now, and but you keep thinking these thoughts. They just keep popping up in your head. Welcome to the human existence. Again, you can spiral down into despair for what's happening, or you can notice it and do your best to shift your thoughts. It may take some time. It may take years. Sorry to tell you this. I mean, I try to work with people to get the fastest results, but sometimes people are so locked into a story that we have to whittle away and whittle away and whittle away before that thing changes, and that can take a long time. Not all the changes take years, but it depends what's happened in your life. Every person's life is different. Okay, and here we go. Oh, yeah. Even if that sounds bad, the alternative is that nothing ever changes and you're stuck in there forever. So if you have the choice between it's going to take years to change this and it's never going to change, let's go with it's going to take years to do this. But remember, it may not take years. It could take months or weeks or days or hours or minutes. Okay. As you continue to receive awarenesses, you gain more insight and wisdom as to who you are and how you function in this world. This makes it easier and easier to change your habits, your self-talk, and your unconscious beliefs. You won't ever get to that place where you're aware of everything and have it follow. Well, I put you won't ever, but you can get to that place where you're aware of everything and have it all figured out. And that's the place where you just decide, you know what, I don't like this body, and I'll just let it dissolve, and I'll create a brand new body. And when you get to that point, you've got it. Okay. A lot of people don't make it to that point. Okay. So, but you're not here to get to that point. I know there's a lot of people out there that say, well, the purpose of our existence is to get to enlightenment. That's not what I believe. I believe the purpose of our existence is to have experiences. And if getting to enlightenment is one of those experiences, that's a cool thing. But if it's just having all sorts of experiences, you can do whatever you want with your life. It doesn't have to be, oh, it's all about meditation and spirituality and getting to that higher and higher levels. It could be, oh, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to hang out with my friends. I may want to make some money, or I may want to start this business, or I may want to go to charity. It's up to you. Okay. You're here to experience things, gain knowledge, and move on to new experiences. It does get easier as you work to improve your awareness. You start to see not just how you work, but how the whole world works. It actually says how the world works, but I know I meant whole world works. So I'm just going to go with that. Some of you will even start to see through the veil of reality. And that's a really, really cool experience. It's kind of like at the end of the Matrix when Neo starts to see all the code. I know people, and I've experienced this myself, it's every now and then you see through the veil. You can see the code or the possibilities beyond the current reality you're in. Okay. When this happens, you're stepping into a realm where you can affect things in incredible ways. If you're willing to step out of self-judgment and receive full knowledge of who you are. Okay. And this is another big problem for people. Ooh, and that's hitting people as well. Seeing all of you, exactly who you are, and accepting that. All the strengths, all the flaws, everything that's right and everything that's wrong with you. A lot of people don't want to see the wrongness in themselves. And in not seeing the wrongness in yourself, you are, first of all, creating limitation in your life. And you're also taking yourself out of the power to change anything, because if it's not your fault, you're trying to blame it on something else. It could be someone specific. It could be society or the government or whatever, the nowadays COVID. And so you throw this all on other people and other things because you don't want to look inside. And that's been something that's actually happening during the COVID time. Is there's a lot of people that can no longer distract themselves by going out with friends and by doing certain things and different activities. So they're sitting with themselves and starting to actually see who they are. And some people aren't liking it. And so it's making them anxious, it's making them upset, it's making all sorts of changes. And some people are getting through it and coming into acceptance, and some aren't. And this is happening. This is a side effect of what's going on. No one expected it, but here we are. This is the the new state that people have to go through. But when you start to let all that out and see all the bad parts of yourself and accept all the bad parts of yourself, the interesting is you may not even need to change them because you're going into acceptance. But if you've labeled them as bad, you probably do want to change them. Okay. There's nothing wrong with you. You are merely growing and learning. So be willing to receive yourself, receive who you are, all of you, who you are. And from there, you can decide what you want to do. You may say, this is who I am. I like it. I'm going to go with it. Or this is who I am. You know what? Let's make some tweaks here. If you're not willing to see who you are, though, you can't change things. Okay, you're only going to change the parts you're willing to see. And that's usually not, some parts you're going to see and you're like, oh, I need to change it. But there's other parts that you're just denying yourself. You're not allowing yourself to see it. And changing that could have a bigger impact than the things that are visible at this moment. So I'm asking you to be prepared to change that. Okay, so seeing some movement there. We're halfway through. So you know what? We got you. Hey, they got me. I like that. Let me just check the Facebook status now. And I lost me. There we go. Bring it back. Okay. I've lost it. I've lost it. Hang on one sec, because I know there were some new comments here. Oh, there we are. I can see them. Awareness can create excitement if we allow it, I feel like doing a puzzle. When you find another piece, you can start to see the picture more clearly. Ah, I like it. Thank you, Jessica. It's very weird that it says there are 7 comments, but there's only 4 listed. I don't know what happened there. Maybe they're private comments that I'm not allowed to see. Who knows? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work on a couple people on the call. I'm going to promote you to a panelist so everyone can see you. So if you want to get worked on, I want you to be able to put your camera on. And if you'd like to get worked on, raise your hand. There should be like a raise hand button at the bottom. And we'll get some stuff going. Okay. Let's have a look at Arthur. There he is.
I'm super grateful, Shiraz. I'm super grateful. Thank you so much.
Going on.
So there's 2 things that happened which led to my stomach swelling like crazy and like hurting me, almost like paralyzing me in a sense. And one was I asked for, well, you know, I keep asking for enlightenment and to remove my ego. And it's really hard to be egoistic when you're hurting all the time. And also, my mother recently saw that I was eating food, and she didn't like how I was eating too much of it, even though it was just 1 popsicle out of 9. She threw all this anger at me, and I put it all into my stomach. Even though I tried energetic magic techniques, the touch technique, at like clearing my own beliefs, I just can't get rid of it. And so right now I have problems walking, talking, eating. Right now I don't for some reason, but throughout my whole, it's been like 5 days, 4 or 5 days already, and I have no idea what's going on. It's my subconscious belief or some spiritual thing. Please help me.
Okay. So did you decide you have to take all your mother's anger and put it in your stomach?
Yes.
And what do you get out of that?
Um, Usually my mother sends me love, so I just take the love. But I was so surprised because I haven't had her be this angry at so intensely and so full of affection at me for since I was a kid. And I just, I'm just used to getting love from her. So when she did that, I just took it in just like how I usually do. And now I can't get it out.
Okay. Do you have to take in whatever emotions your mom throws at you?
Yes.
Okay. Are you willing to step out of that story? That's a no.
Yes. Ouch.
So this is interesting because your mom can send you love, and that's wonderful that your mom sends love to you. But you've got into the story that you have to take it in, that you need that love. What happens if you don't take in that love?
I'll get kicked out of the house.
So, but here's the thing: if your mom sends you love, that's fine. But your love should be coming from you. Like you shouldn't need someone else to supply you with love.
I've been learning that over the last 5 days. I
Okay.
figured that I should stop depending on. I could ask for help, like right now, even with you right now. But I'm
Mhm.
not begging you. I'm just asking you. And just like with my mother, I realized I shouldn't like depend on anybody, no matter how spiritual like you or how close like my mom. It's up to me to love myself. I get that.
Okay. So, are you willing to step out of the story that you need to get love from someone else?
Yes.
See, and this is a big thing for people because if you don't believe that you are a source of love, then you're constantly going to be going to other people to get that love. And you're going to be doing things to try to generate that love, to make everyone feel, think and feel you're special so that you can feel like you're loved. But when you acknowledge that you're a source of love and you don't need it, like it's not that you don't want to get it, like it's fine to get love from other people, but when you get out of that need, I need other people's love or I'm going to feel like crap. I need other people's love because I can't generate myself. I need love or else I will just be miserable. That when you get all out of all those stories, you can be happy and have love in your life all the time, right? And and this is it, because if you feel your love comes from other people, you basically become kind of like an energy vampire of other people, depending on them. And that's why when she sends something other than love at you, you're just taking in whatever you can from whoever you can. So she sends hate, you just take it in. I don't have any love at the moment, I'll take the hate and I'll just make my stomach hurt. Okay. So what would happen if you didn't need love from anyone else?
I'd be enlightened. Or at least super aware, like you. Like I'd be really high up there where near where my goals are pretty much.
Okay. Is there anything wrong with not needing love from other people?
That's perfect. It's my ideal actually.
Yes, it's not coming up true. If you don't need love from other people, will you be able to connect with other people?
Not in the same way.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't be as extroverted. I'd probably spend a lot more time alone.
Okay. Is that what you want?
You know, I like spending time with more people.
Yeah. But so here's the thing: is you've created this scenario of, if I don't need love, I'm going to end up being alone and I'm going to feel lonely. But if you don't need love, you don't get lonely because you always get love.
True.
And and just because you don't need the love doesn't mean you spend less. Wow, spend less time with people. It just means you have the option to spend less time with people whenever you want, and you're not going to feel lonely when you do it. So are you willing to step out of the story that if I don't need love from anyone, I'll end up alone and
Yes.
lonely? Okay. How's that feel?
Much better actually.
Good.
My stomach tingled, and I felt some a different kind of relief than I have for the last 5 days. So thank you.
Welcome. Okay. Thanks for being on. Okay. So notice how that takes us back to just what I was talking about. What have you been taught about love? How does love work for you? How much love is in you? And this all comes from how you were raised by your children. Now, and that brings us to the next thing that I got from that one radio show is fear of change. So where we just went with Arthur was, well, if I change how how much love I need and what love's going on, things are going to change, and it feels like that's going to be a bad thing. And it's not that it's going to be a bad thing, it's because you tend to create a story of how bad things can become, and then you're in fear of that story. So as you start to embrace change, you need to remove the fear of that change happening. As much as you desire change, most people only allow it if it happens exactly the way you want it. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. Well, mostly. When you let go of the fear of change and allow change to show up how it wants to show up, it'll show up in the best possible way. Now, this may not always look like the best way at first. It may be chaotic or unexpected or even feel traumatic, but it is moving you to a better place. Right? You also don't know what things will be like after the change, and that causes you to hold back on the change as well. Right? In your mind, it's better not to have change than take a chance that that change makes things worse. Okay? There is no worse, there's just different. So let the change happen, adjust to it so it becomes comfortable, because it's going to feel uncomfortable. Even if it's better, it's going to feel uncomfortable. Let that become that comfortable place and grow from it. And then you repeat it again and you create more change. Okay. And here's the thing, change is coming whether you want it or not. Right? You can go along for the ride and enjoy the change and experience the growth, or you could push against it and try to stay exactly where you are and fight and struggle and make it harder and harder every day, because you're trying to hold on to that current reality that feels so safe and secure. But as much as you try to create a safe and secure reality, as COVID has taught us, things can change really quickly and in really big ways. So why not embrace change? Let us move on to GAT.
Thank you. That's right on for me.
Yeah. Oh, and you froze.
Can you hear? Can you hear me? Can you see me?
I can hear you again. You're still frozen though.
Okay. I don't know if I need to move somewhere else. We have snow. We just got snow, and I don't know if my reception is great. But.
Okay. Well, at least I can hear you. So continue.
Okay.
What's going on?
Thank you. Well, I want to move forward in my business, and I have had some. Consciously, I love what I do, but I have been in sort of just treading water, just doing the bare minimum to get through. I've lost some enthusiasm. I want to regain my enthusiasm. I'm like quadruple my income in my business, and it is totally doable. There are people who have been in the business way less than me, less talent than I have that have made a lot more than I have. So I know I can do it, but I do really relate to what you said about fear of change. Like I want it, but I'm going to have to work really hard. I'm afraid it's just going to be hard and I'm going to lose friends. And I don't know, I'm just really scared of what it's going to look like, even though I really want it. I see a lot of people that are more successful than me in my business and they're doing really well and they're happy. And I know you have to go through some growth pains, but I'm just scared of it. So I just kind of lay low and do the bare minimum. So that's kind of where I am.
Okay. Why does it have to be really hard?
That's my story, I guess. I guess that's my story. It feels like I have to work 4 times as hard in order to make 4 times as much money. Feels like that's my story, that if you want something good, if you want to make good money, you have to work really, really, really hard. So
Okay. Is that your story? Or did you buy that story from someone else?
probably my parents and my grandparents.
Yep. So are you willing to step out of your parents' story that if you want something really bad, you have to work really, really hard to get it?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I thought that was going to move and you pulled back. So what would happen if you became successful without working hard?
Well, then
Ow.
it feels like it doesn't count. It feels like it
Okay.
doesn't.
Wow. Cool.
Like I don't get credit. I have to work really hard and sweat, dig ditches, all that crazy crap. Otherwise, it doesn't count. That's how it feels.
So suddenly you started, your business just quadrupled overnight and you didn't do anything, then you'd have to invalidate it, say it's not my fault and it's just not going to be right. You don't get the credit for it.
That, or also in my business, people share about their successes and they say they've had to go through some stuff and they've had to work. And so I feel like, well, I have to do the same thing.
Oh, okay. So you've got to match your how hard I work story with everyone else.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So then you can create all sorts of work for yourself, or you could go to the shared successes and just say, oh yeah, so yeah, I was sitting at home and then the phone just started ringing. I wasn't doing anything. I was just watching TV and I closed like 8 people. Then I ate a box of chocolates and I didn't gain any weight. So that's my story. Right?
But then it feels like it's not duplicatable. Like my team couldn't do it. Other people couldn't do it. So I don't know. It's weird. It's
Okay.
this little.
Here's, and listen to what you're saying is, if I create a story where there's just ease and people call me and I book them and my business grows, my team can't duplicate it. Well, if you can do it, why can't your team duplicate it?
Okay. I'd have to show them how, and I may not know how to show them how, but that's okay. I guess I'll have to. That's why I feel like my success or my change has to look a certain way. That's what you said before.
Yep.
And then I don't know how to fit into that box without struggling and without pain and suffering.
Yeah. But think about the story you're creating right now is that if you really want success, you have to really work hard. And you want your team to duplicate that, right? How many people in the team are going to be like, well, fuck, I don't want to work hard too, right? What if you created the story that, okay, you don't have to work hard. I'll show you some really smart ways to work. That's not going to be that hard. It's not going to take up a lot of time. And you can all duplicate that. How much more eager do you think your team will be to duplicate your success?
That's true. They see me working really hard, and part of the time they say probably like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's the point. But I don't know any other way. Like, I don't know any other way. So.
Yeah, but that's because you don't want to know any other way, because you've got to show how hard you work.
Okay.
When you give up the need to show how hard you work, then you don't have to work hard, because most of this is all ego driven. It's showy. People have to see it. I have to go up and present and show them all the stuff I did to get to my level of success.
True.
Right? And
like a badge of honor, like a hero that has to have these scabs and war, all this, whatever.
Yeah. And it's funny because there was someone I know had just joined. What was it? Essential oils one.
The Terra or Young Living?
Young Living, that was it. And posted that, I joined 2 weeks ago and I'm already at like ambassador level in 2 weeks. People have just been signing up like crazy. It's been so easy, right? And so you're like, there's been people in Young Living working for years and years trying to claw their way up because they're in that work hard struggle, show the
Right.
effort. And then this guy's just like, oh yeah, I joined 2 weeks ago, and like, oh, it's just, I'm making a ton of money. It's been easy. And then, and
Right.
so, and think about how many people read that and go, oh, it's that easy. I'm going to join too.
Right. But I'm afraid that maybe if that happens that way, then I won't be able to show them how to do it.
Okay.
You know?
But here's the thing. Every person is responsible for their own reality.
True.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was talking to the Matrix earlier. There's a line in there that says, I can only show you the door. You have to walk through it.
Right.
So you can show your team the door and how you did this easily, how you let go of that story of struggle, how you let go of the need to show. And
Right.
then it's up to them to let go of it on their own so they could do the same thing.
Right.
It's not your responsibility to change their reality for them. It's your responsibility just to show them the possibilities.
And to change it for myself, right?
Yes, absolutely, to change it for yourself. So are you willing to step out of the story that you have to show the world how hard you work and that you work so hard you deserve that success?
Yes.
Okay. Are you willing to step out of the story that you need a good enough story to compete with all the other success stories you hear?
Yes.
Ooh. And are you willing to step out of the story that if success comes really easy, it will feel hollow and like you're cheating?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that one didn't quite move. Started and you backed off.
Yeah,
So,
that's a little hard. Yeah, it almost feels like I don't know why I'm addicted to this. Like, it has to be this badge of honor and this really tough. But I mean, I've been battling for years. Like, and I've come a ways, but I don't want to do it anymore. I'm burned out. Like I just like it. It would be nice if it would be easy, and that if I could admit that it's easy, because some of my colleagues say, "Hey, I had to work really hard. It wasn't easy, but I did it, and it was worth it." And oh, like I'm just so ready to let go of that.
yeah, it's so much nicer when you don't have to worry about it. So I don't know if I still have it here somewhere. One sec. I think it's gone. Lost it somewhere. Yeah, I don't know where. I think I might have deleted. Oh, it was a good email too. But anyways, I had just gone up to the next level in Legal Shield on the weekend.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and I haven't been doing anything. Right? So I don't know what happened. I don't know who signed up. I haven't been keeping track. And I'm like, wow, this big congratulation email that came out. And I'm like, well, that was easy. I guess I'll just do more of nothing and see if I can go even higher. Like it's.
I didn't even know you're in Legal Shield. That's awesome.
Yeah. Right.
Cool.
So yeah, and I can't remember what level it is, but I'm up to a new level. And so
Congratulations.
thank you. But I think I know what it was. It was I told one of my friends to tell his friend who's looking for advice from lawyers, just join Legal Shield and you get all the advice you want. And I think that was the one that put me over to the next thing. But it wasn't like, oh, I got to work hard and get all these people. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Try Legal Shield. Just do it. See what happens.
Wow.
And it's easy, right? And I have
like
fun with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd
'Cause
like to easy.
yeah, and I will bug my friends and my families about, because a lot of them, I said, you should use legal shields. Yeah, I'll get around to it. And then something will go wrong, and I'm like, did you talk to your legal shield lawyer? And they're like, no. Maybe you want to sign up. Oh fuck. Okay, fine. Right. And it's not me selling it. It's me going
Right.
Right? So I'm
Right.
having fun. Right. So
Right. I need to have permission to have fun in my business. I think it feels
okay.
like if I'm going to make money, it has to be hard. If I have fun, then it's something that doesn't make money. I just need to give myself permission to have fun in my business. And
Okay, and that's important. You need to give yourself permission, because that doesn't feel completely true. Who do you think needs to give you permission to have fun in your business?
I don't know, my leaders, I felt like I needed to get my mom's permission to have fun, you
Yep.
know. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
leaders in there, a lot of the leaders are in the work hard to get to where you want
And
stuff.
but some of them actually have fun too. So I don't
Some of
know.
them
Like,
do, but but you don't connect with the ones that have fun, because that's not your story. You've been connecting with the other ones.
right.
So what if you switched up and started connecting with the ones that are having fun in Legal Shield?
Yes.
Okay, so are you willing to step out of other people's stories that you're not allowed to have fun when you're building your business?
Yes.
Yeah, because fun, the energy of fun, the energy of joy attracts money and success. So you should be having fun. It's actually a requirement, right? And
I,
yeah, I've been doing the show today. Does it look like I'm working really hard and showing everyone, oh, look how hard I work?
no, I think also the other thing we've talked about this, I think before, there's the heavy, my ancestors, some of my ancestors were killed in the Holocaust, and there's that heavy stuff around like life has to be hard, the business has to be hard, money, getting survival is so hard, like all that stuff. And inside of me, there's a little girl that just wants to have fun.
Yep.
But I don't know how to let her out and be part of this whole,
But
you know,
why
in
do
my
things
business.
have to be heavy because your ancestors had it bad?
Well, it feels like, well, they were killed in the Holocaust. Who am I to have a good life, an easy life? It's like I'm not honoring them somehow or something if I have a life.
And that's your story, right? So think about it. If you were one of those ancestors and they had to go through that, would they think, I want every one of my ancestors to have just as hard a life as I have? Or would they think, I hope sorry, not my ancestors, my descendants, I hope my descendants have a better life. I hope they find equality. I hope they find peace. Which do you think they're going to be in?
It's true that they probably want me to have a good life and a much easier life than they had. They
Yeah.
probably do that for
But
me.
if you're making things hard, they're looking, going, oh dear God, what? Come on.
Right.
So
Right.
are you willing to step out of the story that you have to make things harder to honor your ancestors?
Yes.
Okay, how's that feel?
Better. It's good. It's like I feel a little lightheaded and still trying to absorb everything, but maybe I need to go take a nap and let it in.
Okay.
Does that happen sometimes? You have to take a nap just to
Yep.
reorganize your. Is that
Yep.
okay?
It is
But
not
thank you.
uncommon.
This is great.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Okay.
Thank you.
There we go. So it's interesting, the rules we make up for ourselves in order to fit in order to be seen, in order to be acknowledged. I mean, let's make life as hard as possible so we can tell a wonderful story. And I've seen this with a lot of up and coming coaches, is they've seen other coaches' stories and all the crap they went through. and they're like, well, my story is not crappy enough yet. I should make some more crap in my life before I start coaching so that I can talk about how I got out of it. And sometimes that crap goes on so long you never get out of it, so you can never actually create that big coaching business because it's all about making more crap than getting it to a new spot. Whew, okay. So how are we doing? Okay, we got 3:54. I've been told it's supposed to be, I don't know if it's my show specifically, but apparently we have to get 56 minutes now. So we're at 2 minutes to go. I'm going to see if there's one more thing. Okay, we'll do one more paragraph. It's just luck. Let's talk about luck. Let's talk about luck, baby. I don't know why these songs are popping in my head. Some of you have the belief that whether you make money or not, whether you have money or not, it's just luck. I know it may seem like it, but there's really no such thing. Luck exists, like everything, as much as we believe it to exist. We send out vibrations to the universe, and the universe responds by sending us back things aligned to those vibrations. It's that simple. If you believe you have to be lucky to have money, and you also believe you're not lucky, then guess what happens? So are you willing to destroy the belief that you have to be lucky to make money? Oof. There's a nice one. Are you willing to destroy the belief that only the lucky few will get money? Wow. Okay, that's hitting a bunch of people. Okay. No coincidences, no fate, no luck, just belief and choice. So what are you going to choose to believe? And this is a neat thing because there's so much moving right now. A lot of people think only the lucky few can have money, but there is a theory out there that if we took all the money in the world and distributed it equally amongst every single person, within 3 years, we'll be pretty much back to where we started. And I think that's fairly accurate. There's some people that are going to end up with more money, and some people are actually going to end up with less. But in general, it's going to be back to where it was. And you can tell this because you hear that over 90% of the people that win the lottery, so they've got all that extra money, they end up back where they started, some of them in worse positions, because it's about the vibration you're in. It's about the amount of money you're attracting, the amount of sex you're attracting, that too. Success is what I meant to say, but you're attracting sex too. So let's just throw it all. The amount of sex you're attracting, the amount of friendships you're attracting, the fun you're attracting, it's all going on because of your beliefs. And when you get that there's no just a limited amount of luck or money or success, and there's an infinite amount, it's just what you're creating in your life, and you just think about everyone out there, what they're creating in your life, and that creates our world, then you can get into the space of let's do something else. There's infinite money out there. I'm going to start accessing it rather than believing the lucky few will get the money. So that's where we're going to end today. Thank you so much for joining me on Rewriting Reality once again on The Breakthrough Show. And be sure to go to The Breakthrough Show on Facebook and see what other amazing shows are available there. I invite you to watch Ask Crystal and, of course, the main Breakthrough show. And I will be doing a couple more workshops, one at 6:30 and one at 10 o'clock Eastern. I know Breakthrough Show is Central? It's 2 p.m. Central. It's 3 p.m. Eastern, but that's what's going on today. And we're up to 58 minutes. I was supposed to start with 56, but okay. Thank you. Bye. Have an amazing day and see you next month. Bye.